Okay, welcome back to the show. It is still People's Voice on VOP TV. Okay, let's dive into this particular conversation now. We're talking about a lack of continuity in Nigerians' governance system. Okay, we're looking at the implication of lack of continuity. Okay, Nigerians' governance system has been criticized by lack of continuity with policies and programs often abandoned or reversed after a change in government. This lack of continuity can have significant implication for the country's development and stability. We're now being joined by a public affairs and political analyst, Barrister Laya Demokoya. Barrister, good afternoon to you today.
Good afternoon, Mr. Savior. How are you today?
Doing very great. How is Abuja, Barrister?
Yes, Abuja is sunny. Abuja is fine.
Okay, and hope you're preparing and you're ironing your suits already. That's the green and white to rep your country as a patriotic Nigerian tomorrow.
Yes, it's great that we're having our independence tomorrow.
Okay. You're welcome on board. And also we have a senior political analyst and a veteran reporter who I call the seer, who has been predicting every political situation in this country and they've been coming to pass. Good afternoon, Mr. Delefanimo.
You are putting me on the spot.
No, sir.
I don't predict. I only see what I see and I analyze.
But it has been happening the way you've been saying it.
To God be the glory.
Great things he has done. Okay, so let me just kick off this particular one from the studio. Mr. Dele, what are the implications of lack of continuity in Nigeria's governance system?
You see, to answer your question straight before I do my premise laying, lack of continuity would only bring about stunted growth and development. And when you have stunted growth and development, the masses of Nigeria would bear the brunt most of the time. You see, it's like molding blocks. If you have foundational disconnect, no matter what to put on this disjointed foundation, it's likely to crumble because the weight coming on top of a weak foundation would always pull it down. And that's what we've been witnessing in Nigeria. And why do we have lack of continuity? It's simply because we are driven by enlightened selfish interests. People want validation at all times. You see, leadership is divided into 4. Later on, theories came up and then they started having, but I like the 4. You have autocratic leadership. You have democratic leadership. You have transactional leadership. And then you have transformational leadership. Now, autocratic leadership, as the name implies, is where you have top-bottom approach, where you must obey without question. And that's what the military adopts when they're in government. Now, the democratic experience that we have is the democratic part of it. Then the transactional part of it is the level at which you do deals with a lot of things, even policies, implementation of policies, and that's where corruption sets in. Such that for everything you want me to do, even when it is my responsibility, if I had signed for it, like a civil servant who would ask you that you have to graze my palm before I take your file from one table to the other.
Yes, they even have a word they call it now. They call it PR. And
Now,
some organization calls it kickback.
so we when you have that, you are just doing transactional leadership. Now, the transformational leadership, my own coinage of transformational leadership is leadership that takes you to where you ought to be, but you don't want to go. And for you, and that's the best of them all. And for you to be a transformational leader, you must see those things your followers are not seeing. You must be able to interpret the consequences of every layer of action and must be able to hazard guesses as to what you are likely to benefit. Not just you, generations. That's where legacy comes in. You know that ultimately you are not likely to benefit from these blocks you are laying. But you look at 3-4 generations that are likely to benefit from it. And then you close your eyes, kiss the bullet, go ahead and do. Then posterity will judge you. Why are they still talking about Mahatma Gandhi after almost like close to a century that he left this space? Why are we talking about Lee Kuan Yew of Singapore? Why are we talking about Mandela, who rose above 27 years of incarceration, came into government and espoused peace, that within the space of the brief period he was president of South Africa, he won Nobel Prize, Peace Prize. Now, Mandela, for the sake of looking at the African leadership model, would have thought of, after staying alone in solitary confinement for 27 years, this is my opportunity to amass wealth.
Let me compensate myself.
He has every opportunity to change the system in South Africa. He has every opportunity to change the constitution to benefit him. Because if anybody goes against Mandela, when he came out of prison and became South African president, that person will incur the wrath of South Africans. But he chose the path of peace. Now look at Thomas Nyerere, Walimu. For the period he was in government, he didn't amass wealth. That when he left government as president, people in Tanzania contributed to build a modest story building for him in his house, in his community. And you know what happened? No security. At a point, farmers will harvest their produce from the farm and take part of it to his doorstep.
Sincerely, sir, this is the reason why I'm always asking. Is it not possible for a president, a governor, a senator, House of Rep members, for them to even work freely without all of this serious convoy?
Now, you see, at some point they had to call the villagers, please, because he wakes up and wants to see the whole community from his balcony. He couldn't see anything because the pile of produce in front of his house had overtaken the height of the building. So he had to passionately appeal to them that please come and take your food. I don't need it. How much can an old man eat? You understand? Now, back to why there is disconnect. If I am governor of my state today, part of seeking validation of the public is to make sure I rubbish my predecessors' achievement. Disconnect with his project, however laudable this project is, and then start my own because I want to own it.
There is a proof of concept as regards to this statement you're saying. Our Lagos road here, along Ikeja along axis, that particular place, I think we've had nothing less than 3 different kinds of pedestrian bridges before this particular one.
Now, because of self-seeking validation, you have that. 2, if it is possible for successive government to re-award Lagos-Ibadan Express route, I'm sure they would have done that. Because everybody in government knows that one of the easiest way to make money from government is to award contract. The bigger the contract you award, the more money that comes to your pocket.
Okay, sir, yeah, I'd like you to hold your thoughts. Let us go to Barrister Ademokoya, who is actually in Abuja, waiting. Barrister, good afternoon. Are you there?
Yes, I'm with you, Mr. Silvio.
Okay,
Good afternoon.
Yeah, Barrister, I'd like to talk about this particular situation from this angle. Now, how can policies and programs be designed to ensure continuity across different administrations? You would agree with me that there is a particular agreement document existing. Of course, you are a lawyer. We call it ISPO, if I am correct. I think irrevocable standard payment order. Okay, where you do a business or you do a contract with the government and it cannot be revoked and all of that. Like, I am just trying to see how we can have continuity. How can this particular thing be implemented where we would have a slim and a smooth continuity of project without it being altered?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Silvio. First of all, talking about continuity in governance, it has been a serious issue since Nigeria gained independence. You will recall that during the Olusegun Obasanjo administration, majority of the projects that we embarked on when Yaradua came into government, we repudiated a lot of those projects. It was only when Buhari, the late former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, became president, that it started some level of continuity in governance, in which he ensured that majority of the projects that was embarked on by the People Democratic Party was duly commenced, and majority of which were completed, such as some of which were the hydro power plant, the railway from Kaduna to Abuja, the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, and some other projects that I ensured that be completed. So now, talking about continuity is very germane for any country for purpose of economic stability and development. And I think what is necessary to ensure and enhance continuity in any nation, particularly Nigeria, is to ensure that government policies are policies that will affect the people. Because let me give an instance so you can understand what I'm saying. If you are a former president and you decide that you should build a different villa, Aso Villa, you should build a different presidential law, another person can come in and can be of the opinion that no, it does not make sense. And majority of the people will agree with him, considering a nation like this, that this should not be what the country should focus on at this particular point. That we should focus more on electricity and many other things that is bedeviling the nation, not something that will comfort the president. So these differences are part of what affects continuity in governance. People not agreeing with government policies and government projects of previous government. So these are some of the challenges of continuity in governance in Nigeria.
Okay, so Barrister, you would agree with me that the FCT Minister, Nyesom Wike, of course, is doing so well for the people of Abuja to an extent. Okay, and I remember also from the days that Nasir El-Rufai, I believe, and up until every other FCT ministers, they've been doing is either they touch some parts. For example, this one will come to Apo Extension, do a little, and Galadimawa is there. They will just pour the red sand and leave just because, oh, I was not the one that started that project, I'm going to leave it. Now, how can a governor or a president or a senator, okay, decide that even if this particular project was done by opposition party, I do not mind, since it is for the betterment of the people, Let them decide to take it up. Because the truth remains that if you look around Nigeria, I am saying Nigeria, we are not even limiting it to any state, to be precise. In Kano, it's going on. Everything that Ganduje built to an extent, the governor, the sitting governor of NNPP, Yusuf Kabir, he destroyed some of them. It's there. It happened also in my state, in Akwa Ibom State, as we speak. Even to your present FCT minister, when he was still a governor in Rivers State, he did same. And it's here in Lagos. For everything a predecessor has done, they just decide to get to leave that particular one or rubbish it and say, oh, this particular thing is of no use or it's a misplaced priority. Let us move to something better. Even when you know how potent, how better, how productive that particular either structure or that project would have been for other people. How can government ensure that policies and programs are sustained over time? How can?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Xavier. Please let me quickly correct a particular notion. For some of the projects that you mentioned, that the government didn't decide to continue in Abuja, I think that information is not totally correct. Like if you look at the Galadimawa axis, the reason why most of those projects were stalled, I believe, should be because the contractors were not paid, or maybe they were paid and they refused to, execute the contract. Corruption in the Nigerian government.
That is what Mr. Dele Fanimo just mentioned here. Okay, so yeah. if they made the payment back then, okay, and this particular project were not done, someone has to be accountable for it instead of it being abandoned.
Definitely.
Yes, sorry. Please, Barrister Lai, we have a caller. Please hold your thoughts. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello. Good afternoon. This is saying on the line.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I want to say this particular issue now is not only is not synonymous only to Nigerians, even in overseas. In America, it is still this same thing is being witnessed as even today. Everything Biden did, you understand? Everything Biden and Obama did, Trump came and undone everything. So it is not a Nigerian thing, it is a leadership thing. You understand? It is a leadership thing. So I don't want us to see it as an only a Nigerian thing or a black thing. It is it's a worldwide, let's say it's generally an individual thing now, because so that's the problem. So but in Nigeria, the mediocrity of our leadership is above board. Is above board. That is why it is so prominent in Africa and Nigeria precisely. Now let's take back to other like example Lagos State. Some things Fashola did was thrown away by the coming governor, which we all know that Fashola was a pace setter. You understand? So I want to emphasize somewhere that it is not only a Nigerian thing, it's an individual thing coupled by the mediocrity of the leadership system. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for that particular submission. Okay, so back to Barrister Lai. Barrister, are you still there? Yeah, okay. All right, so Barrister, of course, you were talking. I just needed to do a particular clarity as regards to accountability when contractors are being paid and yet they're not doing their job, or they were not paid and money was approved and we didn't also see projects. Someone has to be held accountable. But while you're about to continue your statement, I would like you to just answer them simultaneously. What role can institutions play in promoting continuity in governance? So please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Xavier. So as I was saying earlier on, some of the projects that were stalled in Abuja, the current administration has taken it off. I know you are not familiar with Abuja. We are the one that is on ground here. They've taken some of it off, like the Apple axis. They've already tied that road up to Wasa, the current FCT minister. And they also have started the one from Gariki going to Galadimawa has also been done. And they've also started commencing moving it from Galadimawa further. So now, concerning the issue of the responsibility of government or responsibility of the people to ensure that there's continuity in government, I think one of the major things that you consider is laws, legislations. Are there legislations that are made that somebody should continue a project when he enters into government? I don't think we have anyone currently. If you recall, in 2021, there was a bill that was passed at the National Assembly then that they were proposing that they should impose a form of punishment for governments that abandon their predecessors' projects. Unfortunately, the bill didn't pass through. It didn't go through to third reading. It was at the second reading that they abandoned it, giving reasons that they are of the opinion that such legislation cannot be enforced. That you won't be able to say you want to sue a governor or a president for deciding on what projects to do and what project not to do. Also, I would like to let you know that the majority of this issue of continuity is at the subnational level. It's not common at national level.
Okay.
Majority of these issues that we have because if you go and do your findings, you discover that it's at state level. If you are talking about projects at federal level, because of bureaucracy, it's difficult for you to abandon. I'm not saying there are no ones that have been abandoned. Like if you look at the National Library project that was being done under Obasanjo's tenure, by the time Yaradua came in, it was abandoned. It has been abandoned since 2007 up till now that the government is just talking about completing it. Something as significant as National Library that can benefit the people. So at national level, it's not common. I can tell you that many of federal projects, many of federal policies, they still subsequent governments still ensure that they continue, if not 100%, at least to 60% level. Do you understand? But at national level, for political reasons, politicians don't want to do project that another person will take credit of. They say if I'm the one that if it's my predecessor that is doing this project and I complete it, then we share. So it's a political thing, more than more of a self-interest thing than the interest of the people. So that's how I see.
Okay, thank you so much, Barrister Lai Ademokoya. Let's come back to the studio. We still have Mr. Dele Fanimo. So, sir, how can the lack of continuity be addressed through legislation and constitutional reforms?
You see, the law is made for man and not the reverse. It's one thing to have laws. It's another thing to have the political will to be able to stick to the tenets of those laws. If you go into the Constitution, if you go into other extant laws, you will know that there are certain things enshrined in those statutory books that should ordinarily prevent those who want to go the other route. But because there is low level of enforcement, so it's as good as that law is dead until one person decides to kiss the bullet and enforce the law. Now, beyond the law, I think there is a need to have that social rebirth. There's a need to go back to those values that separate us from animals. Because in creation, only the human species has the faculty to think of what is right or wrong, what is rational or irrational. But other creation, particularly animals, are most times ruled by instinct. I'm hungry. let me look
Let
for
me just
food.
look for something to kill and eat.
You know. So, but unfortunately, we are gradually, descending, and we are already reducing ourselves to those other creatures. Now, I don't need a law to tell me that if I do anything that would affect you, I'm also indirectly injuring myself. The money that's supposed to be used to build roads that goes to my village, I collude with some other people to steal that money. If I have a helicopter to fly past that road, what about my other siblings? What about my children? What about my grandchildren? What about my extended family that have to travel through that road? That just because a trailer wants to avoid potholes and it runs into a ditch, then somebody who is a member of my extended family happens to be in a 18-seater passenger bus that is caught up beside that trailer, and the trailer tips and fall on this 18-seater bus, and all of them would probably perish. Have I not lost?
Of course.
So we need to do serious and proper reorientation. How much of this money can we take beyond the earth? I was watching a video about 2 weeks ago of a man, an archaeologist, was doing his job, and he stumbled on his equipment, fell on some metallic objects under the sea level. And when he probed further and started digging, he met a skeleton. Strapped in the hands of this skeleton is 24-karat gold wristwatch. Going further, he saw a briefcase. When he forced the briefcase open, and you know one funny thing about that briefcase, the owner of this briefcase that was buried also gave instruction that the code to that briefcase should be given to him. So it was tied to his hand. The man used the code to open the briefcase, and he saw treasure. Now, that mentality, that poverty mentality, you see, there are different types of poverty. Poverty of the pocket can be resolved.
Can be resolved, yes.
But poverty of the mind,
very difficult.
That person is a prisoner.
No matter how much, give
that person central
the
bank.
Position you put that particular person.
Give that person central bank, he will continue to steal. And most of our political leaders they have mental poverty, not the pocket one.
That's why it is never and always not enough for them.
It can never be enough, because they acquire things they don't need. A governor died some 2 years ago, and somebody invited me that I should join and bring some media people that he wants to pay condolence visit to the man's house. Do you know that I was in front of that house, and I was still calling that this house you describe for me is an hotel here, not a building, a private building. He said, what did you see? And I'll describe what I saw. I said, I saw about 25 cars. He said, you don't know anything. Those cars were the ones left that as soon as the man died, they have spirited away many cars to unknown destinations. And lo and behold, what is he going to use that car?
What are they using the number? How many cars?
How many cars can you drive in a day?
How many rooms can you even sleep in one night?
If you tell your drivers to line up 5 cars for you, that you want to travel from Lagos to Ibadan, and you want to ride on those 5 cars, if there is a car that is following you, and he notices that at every 10 kilometers, you say park, you hop from one car to
the
another.
Other. You hop from one, like they will just see you as an unserious person. That's all.
No, you'll be
like
You will be mistaken for an insane person. And then here you are, you have somebody who has 25 cars parked in one of his houses. Now, he's cooling his heels 6 feet below. Who now enjoys those cars?
Okay, sir.